What is up, Robot Wars, BattleBots, and Bugglebots fans alike? Hardcore Kid here with the comeback of the Hardcore Podcast. And for many months, maybe even a year, many of you have asked, when? When? W-E-N. When? Bugglebots. Well, I am proud to announce that when is now. That's right, folks. Bugglebots has come back for its second season. 30 Beetle-Age robots coming together to beat the hell out of each other over in the Bristol University.
It's the University of Western England.
Oh, okay.
It's in Bristol.
It's in Bristol.
Close enough, but just say Bristol.
Bristol. And joining me for this adventure, as always, my co-host, Otaku Nate.
Oh boy, man. It's dusty in here. Man, it's been forever since we've recorded in this studio.
Yeah, indeed. You ever thought of cleaning up a little bit?
Well, we don't use the studio that often. We only do it during robot combat season. But I've got plenty of anime that I can tie you down and force you to sit through if you're interested.
No thank you. I'll take a rain check on that.
Suit yourself.
Also joining us tonight, we have future Norwalk Havoc champion Ryan Beaver.
Future champion. What a great joke.
And also joining us tonight, we have two guests. They competed in Bugglebots tonight's episode. Introduce yourself, guests.
Hi, I'm Ed.
And I'm Isaac.
And we're Rust in Pieces.
Aye. So, before we get into reviewing the episode, we'll do a little mini Q&A with Team RIP.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to go over the robots like we usually do?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got our setup going. So, how did you guys get introduced to the robot combat scene?
Well, I guess, certainly I've been involved with robots for a while now. So, back in my first year of uni, we're both in our fourth year now here in the UK. I got involved with a university ant weight competition. So in the UK, the ants are 150 grams. I know the US have, I think, is it 1 pound ants?
Yeah.
So it's like your fairies, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got involved in the ant weight scene, and slowly but surely sort of nibbled away at Ed to get involved as well. And we were living together in second and third year and this year as well. So we came from ant weights and basically decided that we should try our hand at beetles eventually, which led us to Rust in Pieces.
And you wanted to be fair between the two of you, so you guys built a cluster bot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Two little wedge bots.
Yeah, indeed. I mean it follows on from ant weights. So actually, one of Ed's
so the story behind the cluster bots is the first robot I ever tried to make. I just went for a really simple wedge robot, and then when I had it all finished, I realised it was only like 80 grams or so. So just with a little bit of weight saving, I was able to make two of them. And then ever since then, we've been doing cluster bots.
Nice. What other? I did notice there was a little ant weight mini bot that joined you guys. Who drove the ant weight?
So that was a friend of ours who was there with a reserve bot.
Yeah, it's
Chris Trudgeon. He had zero gravitas as a reserve.
Nice. Yeah. So behind the design of Rust in Pieces, like what goes into both machines? What's power in both bots?
So they're pretty simple, to be honest. They're using fairly basic beetle weight components, just 25mm brushed gear motors, and then Vex speed controllers, and then the nice small fly ski receivers and some batteries. It's all very bare bones, really.
Yeah, we use the BaneBots wheels as well, the green ones. I think I don't know. There was some debate about that. People go with orange or green or whatever if they choose them, but the green ones tend to give us a lot more grip, so a bit more push.
Just keep those wheels away from rear. Spoilers for the next episode.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Quite.
Yes. I have noticed that there has been a great emphasis on lances in Bugglebots. In fact, Rust in Pieces both have lances, or Lance-a-Frog has a lance, Limpet has a lance. What's that all about?
So they're just turning out to be quite useful. We first thought of them just to use against spinners, obviously, because it's better to be hit on the end of a stick than like in your face. But they can be quite useful against all robots, really, because they just help you control quite well, because quite often you can get someone onto your wedge, but if you start trying to turn them and push them in a different direction, they'll just slide off to one side. But with the lance, you can help keep them on.
Hear that, JMO? They're ready for you.
Ah, yes. Instead of just going head on, just poke them with this little stick.
Little pokey stick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nate, do you have any questions for the Rust in Pieces guys?
Brandon, I just want to say that I envy you because you said that when we started this whole thing, you said you weren't necessarily comfortable doing interviews, but you've gotten so good at it, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're taking a lot of the words out of my mouth, but,
now that I've taken my 2-month hiatus, I'm able to more familiarize myself with interviewing, you know?
the process. But yeah, regarding, I guess I should ask, did you ask why a clusterbot? Because,
Yeah.
okay, but, well, I'm just curious, why did you decide to go with, 2 wedges for a clusterbot?
I mean, I guess because it's actually our first beetle, we want it to be as simple as possible. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you start simple, there's quite a lot of optimization you can do further down the line. So we're already looking to improve things for future events. I mean, there is quite a lot of weight saving to be done, and at the moment we're basically just kind of we spent all the weight on tanking it basically with a lot of armor. So we've got titanium plates on the front and pretty thick HDP side. So we've never had anything go completely all the way through our armor. It's mainly been sort of electronic failures that have actually knocked us out.
Well, it fared well for you guys. You made it to the heat final, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do actually have 2 questions myself, actually.
Okay.
Number one, since I'm a huge sucker for naming convention, where'd you come up with the name for Rust in Pieces?
So initially, this is a throwback. So the first ever event I went to a robot with was actually a Halloween themed event, and so the first clusterbot that I made was a coffin shaped pair of wedges called Rest in Pieces because it was a Halloween event.
Nice.
And then at some point along the line, we signed up for some event and they got our name wrong and it became Rust in Pieces. But we decided we preferred that anyway, so it ended up sticking.
We stuck with that for the beetle. Yeah, it was
Nice.
That's how people knew us. So.
Yeah. And then the other question I have is, would you guys like to upgrade Rust in Pieces to have weapons in the future, or are you comfortable keeping it with wedge robots for now?
So we are actually currently, spoilers, trying to see if we can find the weight for lifters or flippers.
Ooh.
Possibly we would end up still having the option of like a maximum armor configuration that's just a wedge, but we're hoping that for fights against people like Frog, who don't have damaging weapons as such, we could have some kind of lifter ourselves as well.
Yeah, we were thinking that if we were to go for a proper damaging weapon, we'd probably want to steer away from Rust in Pieces as the machine as it is now. We'd want to sort of, because the design's not very flexible for it. For example, if we wanted to turn it into a spinner or a pair of cluster spinners or something like that, the design's not so flexible for that. So we'd probably move away from that name basically.
Yeah, we'd call it another robot instead of just an upgraded version of Rust in Pieces. Yeah.
If you do decide to build a new cluster, you're going to call it DIA, Destroyed in Action?
I was gonna
Good idea, actually.
actually I was gonna say make the threequel DYWB. Do you wanna bet?
Yes. Yeah. So I think that covers the Q&A portion.
Because if there's anything that's deadlier than a wedge, it's the idea that you now have to fight another wedge.
Yeah. And your first opponent was in fact in the first match of this new season, and that was Sir Lancefrog.
Sir Lancefrog. It's a frog.
It's a frog, and it's an upgraded version of the Sir Lancefrog from the first season.
With a weapon that I absolutely love, the 4-bar lifter.
Yeah.
Nobody really builds them nowadays because they're kind of slow and a bit hard to use because they're slow to open and a little slow to retract, which leaves you vulnerable. But when you get them to work, they can do great things for you.
Yeah, because like when you usually think 4-bar lifters, you usually think of like a Biohazard design,
Or
like
Biohazard
big
Storm
lifter.
2.
Yeah, I'm impressed with how Nick was able to design it to.
Basically, the whole middle body just lifted up like that.
Yeah, it's really cool looking, and it's just a shame he had problems. He lost a drive,
And he fried a gearbox. That's what happened.
Yeah, that sucks. Because I think if this was a different heat, Sir Lancefrog may have had a better chance.
Yeah, but at least we know that he's through to the 10-way rumble.
Yeah, let's talk about that. There's a new setup with the bracket, or so to say. But second, if you make it to the second round of your heats, you qualify for a rumble, and then when you win that rumble, you got to go into another rumble. And then, in order to get into the...
it's a little confusing, but once you figure out how it works, it's not impossible to figure out.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love this change personally as a viewer because, I mean, for starters, I've said this before on Facebook, but it basically not only gives the viewers more rumbles, well, one more rumble, but it also guarantees every single competitor at least 3 fights.
Yeah. Because last year it did seem a bit unfair to have the second rounders win a match, but then lose in the second match and then not get anything.
While the first round losers got their own rumble.
Yeah, that didn't seem fair. So
yeah,
it's a cool idea, and plus it means more rumbles.
Yeah,
everyone loves rumbles.
Beetle rumbles are always my favorite, just because of all the chaos. Like, the heavyweight rumbles are great on a spectacle, but they tend to be a bit on the short side depending on what robots you have there. But Beetle rumbles, those are always fun. I still have flashbacks to the Texas Robot Rumble.
I love that rumble.
Oh, that was so amazing.
And
Hall Pass surviving to the bitter end.
Yeah.
Well, of course you love that rumble because you won it.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I have always been, I think pretty much every single time I see one of the Motorama weight rumbles, those are always great because, for context, Motorama runs 2 arenas, at least in recent years, the 16x16 for bigger robots, and at least in recent years, they've also started running a smaller arena for Beetles. But they always host the Beetleweight Rumble in the 16x16 foot arena. So you'll have like 20 to 30 Beetleweights in the arena at once. It's just pure madness.
Okay,
they call it Beetle-Rama for a reason.
That's like going WCW World War III when you have 60 wrestlers in 3 rings.
Yeah.
And they pretty much always have robots ready because the fact they have 64 robots usually at Motorama each year, or at least Beetleweights alone.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah.
So going back to Sir Lancefrog, it's a shame they didn't do as well as they did, but hey, they're through to the. Do they have a name for the second round rumble?
Okay,
let's redemption.
I'm not
I think it's called the
sure.
Second Chance Rumble.
The Second Chance Rumble.
Yeah, let me look it up.
And the final 6 are the Rumble Bee.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right, so talk us through your fight with Sir Lancefrog while Ryan looks this up.
So this is, was it only like the second or third time we've ever driven the Beatles?
Yeah, I mean the first time we drove Rust in Pieces was at the February. It was the February before the filming, which was about 5 months previous.
Yeah.
So
we're pretty rusty.
Yeah, we no, we haven't. Basically, we hadn't had much practice. So when we chucked it in, we were like, well, we're not expecting much. We'll see what happens. I went with the wedgelet configuration because we were fighting another wedge, so you might as well get as low to the ground. And then Ed went with the lance and the plate because we weren't really sure at this point which would be better or which would turn out to drive better. So we just chucked both in and see what happened. I mean, it turned out the wedgelets got under Lancefrog really well. Actually, you'll see in the fight, like pretty much every time I go near him, I get underneath. The
problem is the floor seams on the Bugglebots arena were quite large, and so you can see a lot of the time Isaac ends up kind of folding his forks underneath himself, and then he has to try and reverse back over them to get them flat on the ground again.
There was. Because like I say, because it was the first time we were driving in the arena, and certainly in a while, we there were quite a lot of crashes going on. I mean, like, there's a lot of self-wedging going on. But, I mean, yeah, there were a couple of times where we got, I don't know if you saw, it was in the trailer as well, where we both got under either side of Frog and just carried him across the arena.
that was brilliant.
That was great, yeah.
Double team move.
My hat's off to you for great driving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like usually in robot arenas like this, the floor is always the biggest hazard.
Mm-hmm.
Floor gate, gross incompetence by arena floors.
Gross incompetence by arena maintenance.
Yeah, but this was a good start. You double teamed on Sir Lance Frog, and I gotta say, if there was a 3-way, maybe if there was like a 6-pound mantis weight division, I think Sir Lance Frog and Rust in Pieces would make a good 3-way bot.
Yeah.
They all look very identical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
yeah. I mean, if you look too closely, I realised that Sir Lance Frog is a nicer looking robot than ours are.
100%, yeah. It's so beautifully made that they mixed an incredible job with it.
Yeah, it's like painted beautifully, and got the front wedge is like a really thick piece of HDB, but he's bent it perfectly at either end.
Yeah.
And ours are just all flat slabs with like exposed screws and stuff.
But you managed to beat Sir Lance Frog via pitting. And I do have to say, I like the little light they put in the pit button now.
Yeah.
So you're able to see it.
Just to make sure you know when it's on.
Yeah. So, Rust and Pieces get the win. And now we move on to the second match of the first rounds. And let's talk about Hold My Beer.
Ooh. Hold My Beer. Grabby Bot.
AKA the best robot name ever.
I just still don't think anything will ever top Alcoholic Stepfather.
And then this guy says, Hold My Beer.
Oh, the intros Farouk would make with that one.
Yeah. So this is Johan Vander...
I know his name better than you. It's Jeroen, and I'm gonna butcher his last name, and Jeroen, if I'm listening, I am very sorry. Jeroen Leferlieu's first attempt at a beetle weight. And honestly, it's not a bad robot to copy, tough as nails, because grabbers are pretty fun to watch on the beetle scene. But it's definitely a first attempt, and it can show, but in its showing, I'm not gonna bash it, because every robot they build, every robot someone builds is someone's first, and I think it was a valiant effort on a part of Jeroen. I want to see him back, maybe with like either a souped up Hold My Beer or something different, but either way, I just love how Steve the American Killjoy just put over Jeroen and how he builds robots, because even though he knows he's not going to win, he's going to bring you something that's going to be entertaining to watch, and I found Hold My Beer entertaining even if my parents didn't.
Oh yeah, I love Hold My Beer. I mean, just the name alone is great, but again, we need more grabby robots. And I would say that the big thing I would say to change is probably like increase the size of the grabbing range, but it's not my robot. I would say the biggest problem was just he had probably the worst first opponent he could have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that was such an unfortunate draw for Hold My Beer, because it's really not the toughest robot in a lot of ways. But...
I know. I mean, like it's like you find it's like you're just gotta be weird. Just like showing up and it's like your first fight. It's like, all right, so who's my first fight gonna be? Oh, we're gonna have you fight this big ass melty brain spinner.
It was cruel actually. It was pretty cruel because they put in the pits. They put us on the same table as our first round opponents. So we didn't know this when we got in the arena as well, or like before the fights were announced. But we arrived and we were sharing a table with Lancer Frog, and Jeroen was sharing a table with the Halo guys. And then obviously they got to fight each other and then sit with each other for the rest of the filming. So, yeah.
Oh, that must have been really high morale in the pit area.
Did they drink a lot of beer? Or were they not allowed beer on campus?
I don't know actually.
If I'm doing a production in the back, I would not want to have any alcohol. Just look at what happened with Jeff Hardy at TNA Victory Road.
Oh God.
It was all cola anyway, guys. So it's
Yeah.
I can't have cola because I'm on a diet.
And I don't like soda.
All right.
I drink water,
but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Hold My Beer? rest in pieces, guys. Ed and the other guy.
Isaac.
Isaac. Now it's my turn to forget someone's name.
Yeah.
Edward and Isaac. What are your thoughts on Halo?
On Halo.
Hold my
Or,
beer.
hold my beer. They both begin with the letter H.
Here. Have some beer. It'll make you feel better.
It's a really cool robot. Up close, it's like beautifully finished and made. So much so that he had a slight issue with that. But I think that might have been a later fight.
Yeah, maybe
Where
a later fight.
He ended up upside down, and because it's so perfect either way up, you couldn't tell which way up he was because it's just identical from all angles.
Drill some holes in there. That'll fix it.
Put an arrow.
It's something you just don't think about until I guess you're driving it, and it's like you work so hard on making things look absolutely perfect, and then obviously get it in the arena, it turns out to be not a practical decision. But yeah, no, it's great, and you can really see the likeness to Tough as Nails as well. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and fun fact, he was on the Tough as Nails team as well, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was.
I believe he was in Series 10. Because I know there is another Johan van der Leverloo.
No, Johan van der Loo is who you're thinking of.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but
let's talk about his opponent.
Yes,
next.
it is the first American entrant of this season, and it is Halo.
Halo, Melty Bot.
Yes. Looking at Halo, just the fact that most of it is just the ring, and it doesn't have much of an actual body. I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, well, this is weird. How's this going to work? And turns out it works pretty effectively. It's Melty Brain, just like SCD, except it has the controller is like, it has this beacon, so that it follows the beacon to wherever it goes.
It's got to be the most original entry.
Yeah, like as far as technology goes, it's really cool.
Yeah. And as effective as the thing, Halo, I've actually seen Halo compete at several American events, and it does really well, I have to say. It's one of the stronger beetle weights out there in the U.S. scene.
Yeah, by the way, I looked it up. Jerome was on the Tough as Nails team for Series 8.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so weird seeing two teammates on there who have virtually the same name, Johan van der Loo and Johan.
It's pronounced Jerome.
I give
Jerome.
I give up.
Or Jeroen.
Or
whatever.
It's like gyro.
Sorry,
either gyro,
sorry.
Euro, Gyro. Well, how do you pronounce it?
I don't know. How do you pronounce behemoth?
Well, duh. It's obviously Behemoth.
The world may never know. Yeah, but I was impressed with Halo.
Me too.
And it's just a shame that the beacon decided not to.
Brilliant! It's brilliantly engineered. It's just that they had problems with their beacon. When you build something so ambitious, you're gonna have problems. Just look at Mortis.
Yeah, the rest in pieces, guys. What'd you think of Halo?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, when we were drawn against that, we were like, okay, that's it. Let's get the bin bags out. we were 100%. And there was so much build up before that fight. We were talking to them about it, and I mean, they seemed. I say like I don't want to be like mean or anything, and they seem pretty confident, and which is fair, because like ours is quite a low budget build, and they've done some incredible engineering on this thing. And so we were.
I love how a lot of it is just empty space in the middle.
Yeah.
Because even if it's like were to face like an axe bot, the axe just goes right through it. It doesn't hit any vitals.
Yeah, most of the electronics, it just goes into the ring around it,
or like into those little yellow areas.
Yeah, they've got little yellow electronics pods. Yeah. On the opposite side.
I think that actually helps a lot because it also means most of the mass is on the outside, so it means it has more inertia on the outside.
Big moment of inertia. You're getting towards like what is actually possible in terms of the weight class. It's probably one of the highest moment inertia spinners you can get out of 1.5 kilos.
Yeah. And as far as the actual match goes, there isn't a whole lot to say. Hold my beer. Just waited.
I'll just say this
seconds.
though. I will say this though. Jerome didn't run away. Like, he did what he should have done. He gave it the chase, because,
The chase!
as soon as that thing is cornered, as soon as it stops spinning, that's the moment for it to grab onto, but, as you said, this was the worst opponent for Jerome. I think...
Too big.
He could have benefited against fighting you guys, actually, or
Yeah.
Sir Lancelfrog, or even the next robot that we have to talk about on this list.
Let's start with Maximum Ogre Drive.
I don't know if he could beat that thing, but yeah, the disappointment.
I
Maximum Ogre Drive. Sawbot. And I will refrain from making any Shrek jokes from the rest of the episode.
I was gonna play the Mario Paint version of All Star at the beginning.
No. It's been done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
This was my pick to win the heat.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it was not to be. Ryan, give your story. You talked in the chat before how you were depressed over a loss, and apparently the loss was Maximum Ogre Drive dying.
Yeah, apparently I feel really bad about this. I wrote down in the chat that I was depressed over a loss, and basically both them and Ian thought that a relative of mine died or something, but in reality I was trying to be sarcastic, but that does not translate well.
Oh, Ryan.
You could say it is a relative, since Samurai and Maximum Ogre Drive are Sawbots.
They are not related though. One's a Japanese robot that basically never gets finished, and the other is a living meme that actually is good.
Yeah.
I will say though, this was really disappointing though, because Maximum Ogre Drive is probably one of my favorite beta-weights of all time. Dude, not just because it's a Saw robot, but because it's a really good Saw robot. And after seeing pictures of what the Saw blade could have done on Facebook, it's kind of disappointing that we didn't get to see it in action.
Yeah.
But,
Well, there's always the Dung Beetle Rumble.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he does really well in that, because again, I really, really want to see more chop saws do well. And no, I do not want to rely on my piece of crap robot to be the one that gets these chop saws back in the game, because there is no way in hell that's happening.
Yeah.
Ed and Isaac, your thoughts on Maximum Ogre Drive?
Yeah, it's really gutting for Sam what happened at Bugglebots. It's normally such a devastating machine. We were at an event a few months before the Bugglebots filming, and Ogre Drive was there, and was just every fight was taking huge cuts out of people.
There was someone with a, I think it might have been.
It was Saw Losers in Bugglebots as well in the first season. They had a titanium top plate at this event we went to, and Saw Loser went through that. Ogre Drive went through it in about 2 seconds.
Nice.
Cut off a bunch of the wires inside. So it's normally not a machine to mess with, but it just wasn't cooperating.
Yeah. And I think they probably could have done better in this heat if they didn't get quite possibly the worst opponent they could have gotten, which was the reigning champion, K2.
K2 champion.
Yeah, like going into it, I kind of had hope, and honestly, they were doing really good against K2.
Really good back and forth, but then the saw got shattered, and then they got disqualified because they used a hardened steel blade.
I don't think it had to, even if they had won the match, I don't think they could have been DQ'd, because Pussycat was disqualified just because they ran into the wall.
Yeah,
and it was basically self-destructed their disc. No, K2 legitimately just sliced this entire saw in half.
That really just shows, because they're using a FingerTech beater, but the rest of the robot is just custom engineered, and from what I understand, he has a new motor or an upgraded motor. I don't get the terminology because I don't have a robot. Could somebody explain what Mark has done to this machine?
So I think the main change he made before this season was upgrading the voltage the robot runs on. He went from 3 cells to 4 cells, which just makes everything that much faster and more powerful, basically.
And it's really showing in this heat, because this thing is a tank.
It's a big tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. like K2, I'm really impressed with how you can definitely see the improvements, because last season it managed to get through. It was tough. It didn't quite have as much power like as I thought it would. This season it definitely has it.
It's got a lot of oomph to that blade.
Oomph. It's got it got an SOOTA. Mm-hmm. This thing is a beast. And I'm really happy with how it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I'm happy it won the heat because, champion's advantage.
All right.
But yeah, like as far as the K2 Maximum Overdrive match goes, I thought it was the best match of the heat, in my opinion.
I would probably have to say yes.
Yeah, because
it definitely stood out among the various fights. I'd honestly say that the runner-up was the Rust in Pieces versus Sir Lancefrog fight.
It was a good battle of the it was a Lance Storm, if you could.
It's a joust.
It's a joust.
The proper word is joust.
Joust. Yeah, but yeah. So that covers the first round matches. Rust in Pieces, Halo, and K2 got to go through to round 2, which means we get the Redemption Rumble, or the Loser's Melee, between Sir Lancefrog, Hold My Beer, and Maximum Ogre Drive. And
Ryan, you want to take this one?
Okay, so I'm very happy that you two won the fight. I think you guys did a really good job, but this was just the moment that just crushed me. I got crushed. If Maximum Ogre Drive was just outdriven and outbeat, then this would not be I would not be have a problem with that. But the fact that he just up and died like that just really makes me sad. But
any idea what happened to Maximum Ogre Drive that caused it to stop?
Sam was talking, I think they did a little clip from behind the scenes after the fight. He was talking about noise from the motors potentially browning out something. He's still not really 100% sure, to be honest. It's just one of those things. As soon as you put a robot in, they get stage fright. Gremlins come out, and yeah.
Yeah. Like to me, the worst possible way to lose a match is when you're winning a match and then you just stop for no reason.
Yeah. We don't like fights like that.
I've told myself this multiple times. I would rather lose a fight by being completely outdriven or just being absolutely destroyed than by something incredibly minor like a wire shorting or one of the motors coming loose or something like that. Like if I'm gonna lose, I want to lose. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or in the case of Disco Inferno, a wire shutting off a motor.
Yeah. Ouch.
Or in the UK, more often than not, it's a link. But there you go.
I just I had to get rid of the switch in my fairy weight because the switch kept derping. Like the entire bot would just shut off for no reason during the match.
So you gonna go get a link?
I have a link. I just have a little plug that I plug in and out. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's frustrating. But
finish the damn fairy weight while I'm at it.
Hey, stick to one bot at a time, Ryan. If you want to compete, at least finish at least one project.
Hey,
yes,
someone's already pissed at me though for taking the name Tooth Fairy and not having built the damn robot for over a year when she was going to use it. The only reason she hasn't used it yet is because I signed it up for Robo Games first and then never finished it.
Oops.
So I pretty much am obligated to finish that thing. I think that's actually going to be my second robot I finish after I get my beta weight done.
Alright.
So
hey, hashtag finish your beetle.
Yes, please.
Yes.
So Sir Lancefrog gets the win after outdriving Hold My Beer.
Yeah, he pushed it into the pit and almost went in itself, which was
it was
funny.
on the lip, which is actually kind of funny, but
Sir Lancefrog goes through to the second rounds, and the first match was Rust in Pieces versus Halo. And Isaac, you want to talk us through this match?
We were so nervous.
yeah, absolutely.
We've been comparing robots actually in the pits, and the height of their tooth was just enough to go directly over all the armor we had on our robots. So we were not looking forward to it.
But yeah, no, we went with a full titanium and put the sticks on both. And I mean, someone talking about, and we heard someone talking about previously, that sort of when you put them together side by side, you basically end up with a big dustpan with two kind of lance arms on one side. But I mean, the tactic was quite straightforward, really. It was just box rush, and just keep on them all the time, like never let them get spun up at all.
I did notice when you guys started out, it does, when you're together, it does make a really cool looking, like if it was a single bot, it could make a very effective wedge. And Halo managed to get some hits on you guys, and then the pit was enabled. Halo was in the pit zone. Couldn't get away. And then that was it, basically.
I was so lucky for us.
I mean, they were having, like you were talking before, having trouble with their the location beam. It's infrared, and polycarb has a lot of infrared, so the arena walls were having quite an effect there, we suspect. But like, you didn't actually show this, but when the pit button was, as soon as they got and realised they were on the pit, there was like this mad scramble of them to get round that side of the arena and sort of like try and move themselves off the pit before it was open.
Because they were having signal issues because the infrared on the beacon doesn't go through polycarbonate very well.
Yeah. Time to come up with a new beacon that can go through the polycarb, but hopefully not burn a hole in it. What do you think it is? A lightsaber? But so Halo ended up in the pit, and it was sad seeing the first American entrant going out. As an American, I cried. But not as much as Ryan cried in Maximum Overdrive losing, I assume. But
You still have to clean the salty tears out of the carpet.
Lots of salt. Yeah, but Rust and Pieces get the win and go through to the Heat final.
In a match where they just put Halo in the pit like it was a hockey puck. It's like one of those It's like one of those crazy hockey goals where the puck just slides right into the net when the goalie goes to try and play it.
Yeah.
Or when a team accidentally shoots it into their own net on a delayed penalty.
Oops.
I just need an excuse to talk hockey to make me forget that the Devils are absolutely terrible.
We went to that one game and they were up 3-1 or something, 3-0.
Yeah,
and then
4-1, and then they blew it.
They blew it.
That's been their entire season.
Damn it, Devils.
Hey Nate, you said you're a hockey fan, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should attempt a Melty Brain as your first Beetle.
Yeah.
That's a little too advanced.
You got a hockey puck sitting there on the wall. You could carve it out and make a nice fairy weight spinner.
Maybe I could.
Yeah. The winner of the Battle Beach Ferryweight division was a full-bodied spinner. It was made entirely out of 3D printed material.
All right, I might give it a shot.
I mean, I just want to build a robot in general, but okay.
Yep. So the other second round match was K2 versus Sir Lance Frog, and this was a foregone conclusion.
It was a squash. I expected more out of this match, but just
what it comes down to is that K2 just has better wedges, so it was just able to get some hits in on Sir Lance Frog's wedge.
Just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, I mean.
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh. I mean, I'm not trying to bash anything, but I will say that Sir Lance Frog's wedge, I think, works really good as a wedge. But I would say that, honestly, I don't think it works very good as a lifter. Because there's not enough, grip on the front to actually lift. There's no, any kind of fork or anything underneath to actually lift. So it feels more like just a wedge with more parts on it rather than one that can properly lift. And again, I haven't seen this thing fight as much in the live circuit, so I could be completely wrong about this, but that's just from my observation.
I think maybe it could benefit from having a titanium wedge as opposed to HDPE, so they could have a better chance of getting underneath K2.
Yeah, but, I think with HDPE wedges, they offer a lot of bite to verts particularly.
Yeah.
So really something to grab onto, whereas if it was, I don't know, something stronger. But then if you go with stray away from that, then you start straying away from the look of the bot, and I think Nick's really about the kind of the look of the thing.
Froggy. Ribbot. But so
that name is copyrighted by WPI, so you now owe me royalties.
Oops. No. But yeah, so K2 gets the win and goes through to the Heat final, while Sir Lance of Frog goes through to the Redemption Rumble.
Second chance rumble. I did look it up.
Second chance Rumble. So the Heat final, it's Rust in Pieces versus K2, and you guys want to talk us through this match? Or
This is also a case where I thought expected a closer fight than what we actually got.
Oh.
Yeah, we decided, I mean, following Halo, we were like, well, there's only really one configuration we want to go in with this, which was the titanium again. I mean, I don't really know, to be honest, because since this show was filmed, we've actually fought K2 on a different occasion at the UK FRA Beetleweight Championships with a similar result. I think that video's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
But we for this fight, so for the Bugglebots fight, we chose the titanium, and for the FRA fight, we thought, well, you know, we've tried that once. Let's try our wedgelet configuration. Yeah, much the same result. Yeah, I don't know. It was just pretty relentless, really. We were thrown about all over the place.
Yeah, the thing with K2 is it's not the biggest weapon at all, but he drives it so well, and it never stops. I honestly don't think the weapon has ever stopped spinning in a fight.
It's crazy.
And so he just keeps on hitting you and hitting you and hitting you until eventually you die. Like there's no way of surviving. So our approach was we were just going to try and survive until we could open the pit. And by the time the pit button came on, I think one of us was already dead.
Well, no, we were counted. That was interesting, actually. We were like one of us was counted
we started
out.
getting half of the robot counted out. They didn't make this very clear in the show, but they weren't going to be counting out the entire robot because they were going to have to. K2 would have to knock out both halves to win the fight. But in the show, they started counting, and so a lot of people I saw in the chat thought that we were being counted out, like as an entire robot.
Yeah, but we were both out exactly at the same time.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't get the message to Tim. It's got to be both bots.
Or... Yeah.
Well, no, he was counting.
He was counting out the half that was immobile.
Oh, okay.
So then that half would be out, but the other half would still be going. But it kind of came across as though we were being potentially eliminated. But yeah, so then once one of them had stopped moving, that was Isaac's half.
Yeah.
I gave him a little nudge to try and see if I could like revive him somehow. And then the pit release button turned on, so I went for that and got caught as I was going for it and thrown over the wall. And then that was that. Yeah.
That gave us the first OOTA of the season, which is great.
And that is subsequently the John Reed Good Hit of the Night.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give this one a twofer, because not just do we get an SOOTA, but I'm also going to give it to the part where that one bit of Rust in Pieces hit the wall and just ricocheted off like a pinball on a bumper.
That was glorious. I love that.
It went in, then out.
That was the wall, bounced off the edge of the arena, and then came back in.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of seconds after that something knocked loose. It was dead in the water after that.
Yeah, it was rough, but hey, you guys made it to the Heat final, and you're through to the Redemption Rumble. So that actually Rumble B. So you know what that means? We're going to have a cluster bot in the Rumble, so it won't be 5 or 6 bots. It'll be 7, or depending on who makes the Heat final in the next few heats, but. Should be fun.
We're 6.5 robots. Are you going to deploy the ant weight?
Oh, we're not can't spoil anything.
Okay.
All right.
Because so many people, as Bob told you, we want to see that thing smashed into confetti.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
so
keep on tuning in to find out.
Yeah. Remember, darling, no spoilers. So, that pretty much covers episode 1 of Bugglebots Season 2, and overall a solid heat, I thought. A lot of good bots, some good hits here and there.
Yeah, some fun moments.
Yeah, pretty stacked heat, too. I mean, like, I think if Sir Lance of Frog and Maximum Ogre Drive were in a different heat, they probably could have had a better chance.
If Ogre Drive had better luck, I think it could have gotten the heat final.
Yeah.
And we had 3 solid veterans. We have two newcomers that both proved their worth, and then we had Hold My Beer as well.
Oh,
You could count him as a veteran.
Hey, it
too.
wasn't. Hey, don't hit on Jerome. It's his 1st attempt at building a beetle.
I'm not hating, man. I'm just saying that. You all got to start somewhere.
Yep. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it 7 beers out of 10.
I think a 7 is a good way to go.
Yeah. And how about you, Ryan?
7.5 depression pills out of 10.
Yeah. And no, I know you guys are in the episode, so but there is no bias. How would you rate the episode?
15 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go, Dave Meltzer.
Exactly. Yeah, so that covers the episode. As far as I think what I wanted to discuss is what kind of changes or improvements they've made to Bugglebots this season. First thing to note is they have more cameras. They have another. I believe they have.
My parents said that that it actually looked worse, but I tried to convince them otherwise.
Yeah,
The lighting's definitely a lot
they
better.
got rid of the blue light, so you can actually see the robot builders now.
You can also put a lot more. You can also see a lot more of the crowd. Which, boy, there were a lot of more people this year.
Now,
Yeah, I was struggling to find Nate Franklin in the crowd.
He found himself.
Yeah, he was
found
there.
himself.
If we ever go, I want to do like a little kayfabe thing where we play the evil American heels, and when they pan over the crowd, we just sit there folding our arms.
Yeah. And they've also, this is also, I guess you could call it a feature, but now they have the interview couch that Sarah interviews the bots on. This big blue couch.
In this little vestibule
It
area.
was so warm in there.
Yeah, that
Oh,
room
man.
was boiling.
Yeah.
They had loads of studio lights up in that room, and it was tiny, and the windows were microscopic.
Yeah.
Is it usually that cold in May when you filmed this, or April and May or something?
No, it was. I don't know. I can't remember actually. I
I think it was pretty warm actually
Yeah.
at that point.
But like
Uh.
they like sort of in that room where they were filming the interviews, they blocked out all the windows and stuff. So it was there was just nothing coming in.
Yeah, get good lighting.
but the real question
Uh.
is, was the couch comfortable?
Yeah, it was alright. Yeah.
it was, yeah.
Did anybody fall asleep on it?
I'm sure Bob fell asleep on it.
I think Joe might have done it. at some point.
We'll-
Probably, yeah.
Let's not go there, at least for now.
Yeah, but yeah, that pretty much covers the review. The next episode sees the return of Snappy,
Yes, Snappy.
and there's some mean-looking spinners in there, and of course, it also sees. I believe this is Rara's.
Yeah,
debut.
this is Rara's Heat.
You know what that means? We gotta have her on for the next episode.
Do we have to?
Yes,
I don't wanna. I'm not ready to laugh uncontrollably for 5 straight minutes.
and I'll bring some chewy, fruity wagon wheels for us to share as well.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say it right now. I am hyped
Oof.
for next week. I mean,
Me
we
too.
have an incredibly solid wedge robot with Snappy. We have a really effective-looking shell spinner in Wahoo, which I'm so excited for. I think the robot I am the most excited for is Gear Down for What? Because that,
Oh my god.
I mean,
yeah,
I thought Angst was the most powerful beetle axe, but
No,
we might have our beetle version of Terahertz.
and it's not
Maybe?
just the axe, it's the drive. I mean, this thing is
Oh my god,
entirely
that thing is
brushless.
quick.
the guy who makes it, Gareth. He's well, we're all part of the Bristol Bot Builder Society here in the UK, and Craig as well actually. It's man, he's basically doing a PhD in I can't remember what it is specifically.
in brushless drive.
Yeah,
robotics,
so this robot is effectively part of his PhD. It's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I am hyped for this thing. I mean, and then we also have other good spinners like Phoenix and Splody Boy, and of course the mean robot of the century, Shark Satrakian, which, good lord, that's gonna be fun to watch.
Dave Laurie's big return.
Yep, he built a baby Snookums.
Yeah, the only disappointment is that the jaw does not look like it's actuated. It just looks like it's there for decoration.
Yeah.
I'm about to make a mean joke. It looks like Snookums after it got squashed by the organ. But yeah, I cannot wait
On
to
an
see.
already smaller budget.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see episode 2, and which is in 2 days since we're recording on Saturday. So,
I am very, very excited for this heat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and we'll see what happens. To the RIP guys, Ed and Isaac, it's great having you on.
Thanks very
Yes,
much.
sir. Thanks for having us.
And we'll see how they do in the Rumble, and it should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have it recorded next week, and hopefully in the not too distant future, I'll have the BattleBots Award episode edited and uploaded, because I've been I slacked off on it because I lost motivation, especially after YouTube took away my monetization.
And
But,
they never gave it back.
they never gave it back.
YouTube.
Yeah.
When don't they ruin everything?
Yeah. But
It's the video platform that can't get out of its own way.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, but until next time, I am the Hardcore Kid.
I'm Otaku Nate.
I'm Ryan Beaver.
We're rest in pieces.
Yes.
They're rest in pieces. Peace out, and it's Bugglebots time.
This is the part where you're supposed to run away.
There's sabotage.
Yep. And
What, you're not mad at me because I said I'd go the whole episode without making a Shrek reference, and now I make the Shrek reference at the end of the show?
If anything, I think that works perfectly.
yep.